One of my favourite activities on Textivate is trapdoor. This is what it looks like at the end, and I'm going to show you how you can put this together. So this is something where I've put an English translation there of what we've got to reconstruct. So the pupil clicks on j'aime, and then they've got to work out which of these is the right answer. I like playing, so that's going to be infinitive. If it's correct, it goes green. It makes a nice little satisfying noise. Normally at the weekend, there we are, we need the present tense, je joue, etc. My aunt plays, joue. Let's see what happens if we get it wrong. Tomorrow, let's say I got it wrong. Then it goes back to the beginning with j'aime, and then hopefully the next time we'll get it right. So it's something which you can do on your own. I find that students are quite happy to do it on their own. At the end, they will get a score, and they'll be told how long it took them to do it correctly. So now I'm going to show you how to put this together. So I've logged into my account on Textivate. At the moment, if I click on there, there's nothing. It's all ready for me to be able to put a text in. So I want to give students practice in talking about holidays in the past, the present and the future. So here I've got my substitution tables. I've already prepared the sorts of things which I'll have done all of the training first of all for this. So there are the present tense, and then the same thing in the past tense, and then something in the future tense. So those are the things that I'll have already prepared. I can see a couple of mistakes there. And I have done something which is on the prepositions as well. So I've done all of that preparation. I know what it is they want to be able to do. So then I write the text, which would be a perfect text to show that you know the tenses in, and here I've concentrated in particular on just a few verbs. So I love spending my holidays. Generally I spend them. But last year we spent them, and next year we're going to spend them, and so on. So what I do is I will copy that, Control C, and then I go to my Textivate, click into text, make sure into text, and I do Control V. As it stands, you could Textivate it and it would make certain activities, but I particularly want to do a trapdoor activity. So down here, you've got the word trapdoor, and I click on trapdoor. You can see all the instructions are given here. The main thing to know is that you can create a trapdoor activity where it can be done randomly, but I want to have something where I'm using the fixed original text. I want them to reconstruct this exact text. So therefore, I keep what the default is, that it's the fixed original text, not a random guessing game. So fixed original text. So to create the traps, it's really easy. You just highlight the word where you want the trap. Then you click on that word, and then you could say what the other options are you want. So j'adore passer. And what I'm going to do now is very deliberately I never put anything which doesn't exist as a word. It's always a word, but it's just perhaps not the one that they need to have. So for that, I'm going to just give them passer, pass. Yes, I'll just have that. And you do have to have at least 3. Next one, généralement, je passe. So I'm going to actually highlight the whole lot, otherwise it's a bit of a giveaway if it's J-E and not J''AI. So I'm going to click on the je passe, and this time I'm going to put je vais passer and j'ai passé. And by the way, at the end, you know that I'm going to be giving them the English, so there won't be any doubt about the fact that I want it to be in the present tense, je passe. And I click away, and it's there. And then I carry on with all of the others where I'm going to I'm only going to concentrate on these. So my family and I avons passé. So I click on that, and then I'll do the other possibilities. Passons allons passer. And it could be that I throw in an infinitive just to try and confuse them as well. So I'm going to carry on doing it just to show you if you make a mistake. So for example, if there I'd selected that and then think, oh no, I want to do the je as well. It's very simple. You just click the cross and it goes away. Right, just to show you if you have made a mistake. So for example here, I meant that to be in the past tense about Italy. If that, oh, didn't mean to do that. If that happens, you can just close what you've done so far, and then you can go back to the text, and then you can change it there. So here, en Italie, il y avait plein de monuments historiques. On pouvait visiter des musées qui étaient très intéressants. So I've changed that, and then I'll go back to the trapdoor activity, and it has changed it there. But just note that you can't edit it. Oops, you can't edit it there. You've got to go back to, again, you would close that down there. Sometimes it's frightening when you do that. You think, oh, I lost it all, but you close it, go back and change it there. It's this top bit here. That's where you change it, and then you can resume where you were. So now you can see I've gone through all of them, and I'm just concentrating on the verbs. The advice is that you shouldn't really have more than 10. If it's random guessing, it would be quite a lot to have to keep on remembering things if it's random. But here, I think where it is to do every time when they get it, it shouldn't be just a guess, it should be that they know what the tense is, then that shouldn't really hold them up too much. So I've actually got 18 traps here, and I think you can have up to about, I think it might be 23 actually. It might be 20. Certainly you can put in as many as you like, and it will then randomly choose which ones to put in if you've gone over the number you're allowed. So now if we were to look at that, we can close that, and we can look to see what it's going to look like. If you go to Textivate, and if you go to trapdoor, there we are. J'adore passer les vacances à l'étranger généralement. Je passe, and so on. But at the moment, we haven't got the English there, so sometimes it could be a little bit confusing. So let's go back, and now I'm going to show you how you can add the text that we want to see alongside it. So you have to go right back to the beginning. There we are. There's your text. You go to extras, and while we're there, we could also make it that if you wanted to, they could read the text aloud. So we could say that the main text is French, so that now if they looked at it, they could, if they wanted to, hear how it is pronounced. But this is the bit we want, type a parallel or additional text into the text box. So I'll click there, and then I put in the English. So here we are, here's the original text, and I don't know about other people, but I don't bother just doing it into English now. I always use something called Deep L, which is brilliant. Control C, and then I click on Deep L, type and paste it, and instantly copy it, translation copied, Control V, and there I've got the translation. And normally it is accurate. I'll go through it now and check it before I go on. So now I've gone through and I have done my corrections, which are normally to do with just making sure that it's word for word. So that, for example, here, Deep L had put, I usually spend my holidays instead of generally I spend my holidays. So things like that you have to just change so that it makes it easier for doing this sort of exercise. Anyway, that's not what this is really about, is it? Let's now go back to the Textivate. So first of all, I will copy this text, Control C, and I go into Textivate, and it's within extras. So remember, that's where the text is. I go to extras, I go to the parallel text, Control V, and it's there. So now let's see if it's worked. If I go to Textivate now, and I go to trapdoor, then I can, that always says that, by the way, it'll restart the current activity, no problem. And there we are. So now I've got the English there. So I love spending holidays abroad. Generally, I spend, but last year my family and I spent the holidays And obviously it's up to you here. I really am just concentrating on the verbs. So if you're happy with that, the next thing to do is to make sure that you save that, because you can't share it until you have saved it. So for that, go back to your home screen and then you go to this arrow for uploading this resource to Textivate. So I've now made it public. That means anybody can search for that and find it. I could have made it just shareable and I could give people a link, but I'm happy for other people to use it if they want to. I've called it French Holidays 3 Tenses Trapdoor. And I have put as the keywords, actually I'm going to put trapdoor in as well. It's really worthwhile putting these keywords in, because you can't put your work into folders, but in fact I find that the keywords and the tags are really helpful, because it means that when you're looking for this you can just put in the word and it will then find all of the text, all of the activities which go with that keyword. So I've chosen to put French GCSE, my initials, Ashcombe, tenses and trapdoor. The default is that I've read and understood everything, so then I upload the resource and instantly it has been uploaded. So now if I want to save that with anybody, with the students, I suppose I could save this if I wanted to do it too with teachers and students if I wanted to, but I want to direct them and tell them this is the exact task I want you to do. So I've clicked on Textivate, I click on Trapdoor. I could just save that, share that, but I want them to have the text so they know that they're translating it. So that's how I want it to appear when they land on this page. So it's at that point that I will click on the share button. And this is really important, that I must check that I will include the extra text in the URL. That's the way that with that URL here, that will open exactly what you see here. So I'm now going to just do a Control-C to prove that. I'll open up another tab and I'll put that in there. Does it open it up? Yes, it does. So as far as the students are concerned, they will get into there and they can start doing it straight away. If you've got an account, I think it's really worthwhile setting up classes. So I would have done the share, include the extra text, share with class, and then I've got a class here. Share the current link with your classes by selecting them and then confirm that share. That means that my students who've got their own login, as soon as they go in, they will click on shared resources. I'll show you the back. There we are. So if they were to click on search, and if they go to my resources, then they will have this one appearing as a resource which has been shared with them. So just to end up with, then there's the screen. That's what it would look like. It's something which I found that, as I say, students are comfortable doing it just on their own to try and beat their own score, but also it's great to do as pairs so that one person can be doing it. So j'adore, passé, that's correct, and they would go on, and if they get something wrong and it's like that, then it would be to the other student. And it's up to you obviously how you use this. I like to make it they have to read it aloud as they're saying it, so this is excellent for speaking practice. So j'adore, passé, and they have to say it aloud. Hope that's been helpful.